Thank you.
Here we are. We're Earth and Spirit Medicine, Ancient Healing Wisdom, and this is podcast number 9. Last week, we spoke about the doubt versus certainty, and it's not like our certainty gets challenged. It's more like our confidence gets challenged. And so when we're trying to make a decision in our lives and we start hearing those voices of doubt, say, then it doesn't mean that we're not certain, because we can be certain we're hearing those voices. Mm-hmm. But walking in certainty, walking in a way that is, we're making conscious decisions every moment that counteract the doubting voices that we hear. So I kind of wanted to point out that that level of certainty is just kind of coming to facts about something, and the way of living it is kind of a fact-based, solution-oriented way of living. So if I were to break down certainty and say, hey, how do I go about living a certain life every day? I just try to remember what the facts are by saying I'm right here, right now, and the fact is this, and fact is that, and then to get solution-oriented, and that just basically is the key point to creating that path of certainty. And you can go back in a lot of these podcasts and find out repeating information that goes into more detail about these things. So, with that being said, episode number 9. Well, it's kind of hard to pinpoint what happens all in a day. This entire Earth and Spirit Medicine, Ancient Healing Wisdom. I had a gentleman here the other day. Brigham Young University has put some pretty extensive science behind the ability to create a device, a chair, that is putting off vibrations at certain megahertz that bridge a perpendicular stretch of megahertz at, I think, 80 megahertz that runs up the spine and increases the dopamine levels. This science that's gone into this is pretty cool. Excuse me. And it was an idea that someone had because a loved one had an opiate addiction. And if I'm correct, they had taken their life. A couple of other people, similar situations. How do we not take someone who's addicted onto opiates and then introduce them to another addictive substance that may be even more harmful, like methadone or Suboxones, things like that? And how does one go cold turkey, or do you sit on a chair and increase your dopamine levels, and then what? You might start to feel better, but it still got me thinking. So we met with this individual, a really cool device, a lot of science, a lot of research that's gone into this, and I can't do it. I can't do it. It goes against everything that I set out to do in the very beginning. I wanted the so-called cures, the so-called healings, the idea of self-mastery to be identified and effectively, I don't want to use that word conquered, but in a way. So, Earth and Spirit Medicine, Ancient Healing Wisdom, self-mastery. Well, Earth, okay, the plants. Now, yeah, there's some poisonous plants out there for sure, but in today's world I could say, hey, here's 2 simple steps. I can make a video, make a reel. 2 simple steps to never feeling pain again. Drink 1 cup of cyanide. Well, that's one step. What's the next?
Next step?
Yeah.
Cyanide?
If you drink a cup of cyanide to take away your pain, what would be the second step?
Death?
Yeah. And then where would your pain be?
On the other side.
Okay, thank you. I know. Sometimes when I do this, okay, I'm like going, and then all of a sudden I stop, and it's like, hold it, there's a test, Alan. So that's how vulnerable or gullible or something that we may be. But when it came to the earth medicines and the spirit medicines, earth medicines, well, a lot of these pharmaceuticals are derived from a component out of a plant. But why not just stick with the plant? Why not stick with the plant that grows from the earth that we've learned through time and testing that it's effective in certain ways. We learn that cyanide's poisonous. We learn that there's certain mushrooms that are poisonous. We learn a lot of things along the way. Somebody had to take these chances, if you will, or make these decisions and then deal with the result. The result may have been death in some of this, yeah. But what I'm saying is, with this chair and with finding ways outside of ourself, and that's the whole point in a way, but I'm going outside of myself to gather herbs, yes. But it's to do the work on the inside. Spirit. It's like blessings, it's like prayer, it's like connectivity. You combine the two because it's like if I think about this God-created earth and I think about this Mother Earth, and then this way that makes sense is that there's my mother and my father, and they both offer something, and I want the best of it. And they've given me something, power, connectivity, that if I do that and rely upon that and believe that I can increase those dopamine levels naturally, and we might just be doing that right now with the electromagnetic energy of this earth with our feet on this grass, see? So, why am I going on and on and on about this? Because we're oftentimes challenged by the ways of the world that seem to bring about a result that we can get on our own without it being a quick fix or something that we have to rely upon. So how do we self-master ourselves? How do we begin to use what is the best medicines of earth and the best medicines of spirit, and to begin effectively narrating an energetic healing and the healing on the physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, energetic healings, and also in those actual material components that are me, Alan, the makeup of ourselves. So I'm sticking with this ancient healing wisdom. I believe this earth was created for a reason. I'm not wanting to say I'm against anything else. I think we need to use what resources are available and make the most sense throughout our lives, and can help us to be able to come to healing terms as quick as possible. But wow, it was just an interesting dialogue within myself to think, I can't do this. But why? What if this helps people? Other clinics are using it now here in the Wasatch Front. And people are coming in and sitting down, and there's a thing that says, how do you feel before and how do you feel after? So when it comes to shamanic healing, when it comes to my own prayers, when it comes to what's the before, what's the after? So, and so now we're going to make the switch here, okay? A given day, what's the before? It's kind of like the night before, what you went to bed with. It's kind of like what you wake up with in a way. All right, we don't want to go too far on that, but I'm talking about a mentality here. Okay, so you go to bed in this debilitating thinking, and you might wake up in that same kind of frequency. So how do we get ourselves going to bed optimally, waking up optimally, so the before and the after, the before of the day and the after the day, really we stayed on course, and we end up at the end of the day feeling really good, because man, a lot can happen in a given day that was not planned on. Would you agree? Did you have anything happen today that wasn't planned on, that showed up without you really kind of considering it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you want to go into it or no?
Yeah, for sure. Went on a hike, and it was on the drive up. I've been doing a lot of inside work in the last few years, and a lot of visions, and I'd probably say over the last year there's been a lot of doubt so that would creep in. And but every time, like this morning, I was just praying, and right when this word, it was faith, came out of my mouth, I said, forever anticipating inspiration, truth, happiness. I just broke down, just started crying. And on my hike, probably the last couple weeks, I've been looking at houses. I don't have any money to buy a house, but I'm looking. And then all of a sudden, it was just like, well, you really want to see it? On the hike is what I felt. And it's like that vivid vision that you could reach out and touch. I could see a wife, at least at the time, just a woman, and cooking and asking me to go on the grill and cook some chicken, and just the family life. And so, yeah, looking at the past, the present, and the future all right there through just talking to Spirit, and then saying, hey, yeah, you asked, okay, we'll show you. And that's all me just walking in the wilderness today. It was just, I kept on seeing it. Put a big smile on my face. So, yeah, wasn't expecting that.
So these things happen like through imagery usually, and so we'll be having, and this is what happens if we're on autopilot, and autopilot meaning that we're not necessarily consciously thinking. So say we do the same thing every day to get ready for work, that we could kind of do it with our eyes closed, so we're kind of on autopilot. And then there would be, the thoughtful getting ready for work and putting ourselves kind of last. Not like I need to be in a hurry, but maybe there's another member in the family, maybe there's children, or maybe there's the thoughtfulness that says I don't want to be frantic when I get to work. But whatever it is, getting outside of yourself. And I know we're always saying do the work on the inside, but sometimes we have to kind of take ourselves out of our autopilot, out of our habits, out of our norm. And then when something happens, kind of like what Alan was just talking about, and we're wanting something in life, and we could talk on the material sides, cars, houses, relationships, things like that. Maybe we're wanting on the inner side, like inner peace, more awareness, present-mindedness, that type of a thing, more control of our thoughts. And so, we're kind of swimming every day in a conglomerate of the past, the present, and the future. And everything that I've been speaking is already gone, but it lingers somehow, and it lingers somewhere. And then when we have the present, we're actually in a state of mind or a state of being, hopefully, that says I'm right here, right now. And whatever that right here, right now is, it's factual. I'm right here, right now, sitting next to Alan here in the backyard. We're both barefoot. We look like kind of like bookends, I guess, in a way, with the way we're sitting here. The fact is, I'm looking at my home. You're looking at me and the camera behind. So kind of right here, right now. And as I'm speaking about the right here, right now facts, it basically keeps my mind from drifting, if you will. It's kind of bringing in a focused way of keeping my mind articulating on something that I'm trying to make it do, which is stating the facts. I'm right here, right now, and the facts are. So that's like getting grounded. That's like getting present. All right, so we might be thinking of the past. We might be thinking of the future. We might have an experience that shows us the possibilities of future in imagery. And sometimes that might scare us as well, depending on the type of thoughts and imagery we have, or dreams and visions. And so how do we keep ourselves in this certain state of being, this certain state of mind, and knowing that we are living in the past, the present, and the future all the time? But how do I stay grounded right now and utilize the past, utilize it, getting all the golden nuggets, all the value of all that seemingly slipping to the hindquarters, to the rear view mirror, without taking my eyes off the road? Like you just saw what I did. If I'm kind of going down the road and I'm trying to see the past, I miss out on the now and the future. And so we want to be able to stay present-minded. We have the ability to look in a rearview mirror and to look out of a windshield, so to speak. So however your viewpoint is, from, facing forward, what's behind you, and where you're at right now, it kind of doesn't matter, but it really does matter. Because maybe when you're thinking of the past, it's very haunting. It's all those things you did wrong. It's all those voices that say you're not good enough. It's all that doesn't accumulate to a very good feeling in the present. And what that does is set up a very hopeless future where you can't see the good things. You can't let those visions of imagery come in, or actually have faith or believe that they are going to come to pass. So this past, present, and future in a given day is a very, very interesting concept. It's something that we can say, yes, we don't want to say we're time travelers. We just really want to utilize the past, the present, and the future to ensure that our present moment is what? Knowing where we're at, gathering the value of what's happened and where we've been, and then taking all of that and articulating ourselves into the future that we want to design. What is it we want? What do we desire? And how do we go about it? And how do we live our lives on a day-to-day basis so that that comes to us, or that we see it coming around the corner? Sometimes it's like this. An example, a few decades back. Hey, I need a washer and dryer. That's what I told my sister one evening. I need a washer and dryer. I did. I told her, I'm going to go get it. And I'm going to get it for free. I'll be back in a little bit. So I went down, and I was driving past a house, and I saw a washer and a dryer out on the porch. But there was no sign. I stopped. I went to the door. Oh, says the lady, yeah, we were just going to give those away. We just got a new set. I said, I'll be here in a minute with the truck. So I got back home. She says, where's your washer and dryer? So I got to get Dad's truck and go get them. So I went down and I got that washer and dryer. So you think about how many times in your life that could have happened, did happen, or might have happened, or whatever it is, and how the things right now that you need and want, whether it's the inner peace, whether it's the house, inside, outside, whatever it is you want the most, how do you get that result? Utilizing the past, the present, and the future. How do you keep yourself centered in that whirlwind of the past, the present, and the future, especially when we're living? I'll show you right now, I'm right here next to Alan, so I've got his past, present, and future going on. My wife, my children, I've got their past, presents, and futures going on. So here we are, and we're individual worlds of the past, present, and the future interacting with each other. Okay, speak if you want on any of that before we start to close this out.
I got nothing. I think that's, spot on.
Okay, thank you. So, I don't want to look at the past like, oh, Rome fell, America might fall too. The past crumbled. What's worked in the past, what hasn't? And where is or where are those civilizations or circumstances, depending on the events now? What have you witnessed in your life as to the horrific in the past? What have you witnessed in your life as to the most miraculous, beautiful in your past? Find the miraculous and beautiful. The ugly will show up on its own. Gather the beauty. Put it into your now. Right here, right now. I don't care where you are. You're right there, right now. Make yourself aware of that. Gather from the past all the beauty. You have it. You just haven't been talking about it enough, maybe. And then that begins the next step into the future from a state of being, a frequency, a way of believing, a way of thinking, a way of dialoguing that sets up every morning and every night just a little better and a little better. It's in the small adjustments. That's what you need to remember. Let your past, present, and future run together, but don't let it run your life. You run your life.